How's it going, guys? I'm Blaise.
I'm Chris.
And we are here to review Jessica Jones for the Marvel Report. This is going to be the premiere episode review, but we will be doing video reviews for every episode once they start.
All 13. The premiere hit all 13 episodes hit Netflix today, and as Blaise said, this is about the first episode, but just a quick summary of what Jessica Jones is about for people who don't know. Jessica Jones, when we meet her, is a super-powered PI, pretty much. Some sort of tragedy happened in her past that kind of still haunts her to this day. And in this first episode, she's presented with a case that really kind of makes her reflect and kind of have to deal with that tragedy again. There's a lot of similarities between the case she's working and what she went through. And that's about as spoilery as we're going to get in this review. This is a non-spoiler review. Blaise and I are here mainly just to talk about the tone of the show, the style of the show, the performances, and how we think this first episode really kind of set the mark for what's to come. So, Blaise, what would you want to say first?
Well, I think that for me the biggest thing was how strong the show comes out of the gates. I love Daredevil. We both did, but Daredevil is awesome because, it gives you that superhero feel. It's the traditional guy in a costume. He has the big bad villain, and we really get to see him come into his own, just like the Marvel movies. It really adds that dark aspect to things, but it still feels like a transition. And now getting to Jessica Jones, it's a much more darker. Like, I thought Daredevil was dark, I thought it was gritty, but Jessica Jones just takes things to a completely different level, and I was really blown away by just how noir and how much of a thriller it actually was.
No, definitely, and noir is the best word because this is very much, it's a modern noir, it's a neo-noir, and I think too the differences you bring between Daredevil are really correct because Daredevil,
it's fun still.
It's still fun, and it's also Matt Murdock's he's trying to kind of in a way be a superhero. He's trying to better the city.
Yeah.
Whereas Jessica Jones, at least in this first episode,
she's not trying.
She's very much a reluctant hero, and it's very much, as we were talking about it being noir, she's like the hard-boiled detective character, and so she's not so much trying to necessarily better people's lives as much as she's just trying to work, get paid, and kind of go throughout her day, as she's kind of overcoming, she's still dealing with this tragedy in her past, this trauma, but, she kind of gets roped into
It's almost like a reverse Daredevil. Like, Daredevil gains his heightened senses, his powers, as you call them, and he wants to use them. She more sees them as a burden, almost, I feel. She has them, she'll use them when she needs to, but she's not really, showing them off. She's not trying to exploit them or let it be known that she has this skill. And
without giving too much away, because honestly, even in the first episode, you don't really see it that much, I think the reason she doesn't use them too much is because of what happened in her past. And really, it's just a different type of story, and even everything from the shots, just like the mood, the colors. There's obviously there's purples because of Kilgrave, who we'll get to in a little bit. But just the dark blacks, the style of it, and then the music too. It's so neo noir. It's just a wonderful, different type of show, and I think that's what made it so great and so special to me this first episode, because it didn't feel like Daredevil. It really felt, or trying to be anything else in the Marvel universe. It just was its own thing, and that's what I love about all these different Marvel properties, is that, even going into movies, you get Ant-Man, which is kind of like a heist movie, the Avengers, where it's more of a big, save the world thing. All these different Marvel films and shows are their own thing, but they tie together so wonderfully, and this was no exception. This was a great start.
And that's what I would even say, you mentioned how it does feel completely different to Daredevil, and it's weird because when you're looking at it, when you're watching the scenes, it is the same setting. The setting has that same feel, but it's still its own. And I think that's probably what I loved about the show, is that it all goes together. It all flows together, sort of, the Netflix universe that they're creating. They want it to have a singular tone, but also be different. And, really hats off to Marvel, because the Daredevil really impressed me. I thought it was a great step in the right direction. It really diversified from what they've been doing. And, Jessica Jones, I definitely expected a lot of the same and knew it would be its own thing, but it really blew me away about how it was so similar yet so different.
Well, it's how they use the atmosphere of Hell's Kitchen. That's definitely
exactly. They have the tone of that setting just nailed perfectly, and it's really neat to see all the different ways it affects people, and the lifestyle and the crime and the things that go on there. It's really awesome that we have this almost like sub-setting, sub-universe that someone like Captain America probably doesn't even know exists.
Yeah, and speaking of the differences, obviously the key difference between a show like this and Daredevil or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or Agent Carter is the characters, and the episode mainly solely pretty much focuses on Jessica. I think she's in. I think literally Krysten Ritter is literally in every scene. I think.
Yeah.
I don't think there's like one scene without her, and she is absolutely terrific.
Yeah.
She. The thing with her is we've seen. In Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23 and. Which I didn't really watch that much, but then even more so in Breaking Bad, she has these two different sides to her. She kind of has the kind of biting like sarcasm and that kind of like tough edge to her there. But then there's this soulfulness that we saw for anyone who's watched Breaking Bad that she really presented there. And the merging of them, the meshing of them together in this performance is outstanding.
Yeah, I was definitely blown away with her because the general consensus when she was cast was sort of mixed feelings. Yeah. We obviously know she has talent, but compared to the look of Jessica Jones, compared to the sort of style, Krysten Ritter just physically, people were questioning it, and I was questioning it. I thought, I obviously trust Marvel and have learned to trust Marvel, but you still wonder kind of, what did they see in her? And, now I get it. Yeah. And I never doubted Marvel, but yeah, I definitely had my doubts about her and how it would feel, basically. But she, I think, is perfect.
Yeah, she's great. The rest of the cast as well. You have Carrie-Anne Moss as the lawyer. She gets her cases for. She doesn't have much to do here in this first episode, but she does solid work. Same thing with
Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, yes. Well, yes, with Mike Colter who's playing Luke Cage. He's also he's only in a couple scenes, but he makes a real strong impression, I thought. And I'm excited to see more from him.
And I love, that's what the Marvel also really nailed with Daredevil was the incorporation of side characters that will be crossover characters. Yep. They might deal more with an Iron Fist. They might deal more with a Luke Cage, but these characters are all from Hell. It's that Hell's Kitchen atmosphere that you talked about. It's finding a way. These characters can all relate. And that's why it's so awesome that they can just interchange them so quickly. So they really nailed that again too, incorporating these side characters that might have a bigger role down the line or in another show, but they can work. They can work in this as minor supporting characters.
Definitely, and obviously we have to talk, even though he's pretty much barely in the premiere, David Tennant as Kilgrave. Yeah, just the menace that his voice brings is it's terrific. I mean, it's eerie, it's unsettling, and his kind of voice, it like kind of just blends with everything we were talking about before about the style of the show, this darkness, this noir feel of it, and it works perfectly. And I'm really excited to actually see him in the flesh, kind of more.
Yep. I liked really well how they utilized him in this teaser episode almost, because it's so weird. Everybody knows David Tennant as the Doctor and this cheerful, upbeat, charismatic hero, basically, that's caring about every living creature in the universe. And then you see him be this slimeball, dark of dark, creepy guy, and you don't even see him, but through all of the quick flashes and just the teases of what he can do or is doing or has done is freaky, and it's very real in a sense. The Netflix shows bring a much more of a realness to them, to this superhero idea, and I thought with him, they found a really great way to tie this into sort of some popular modern cultural topics and things going on, and although his abilities or the way he does things is a stretch in this superhero universe with powers existing, but they really bring it down to a real level and how these types of things can be abused and how scary it would be. And you always hear the argument tossed around with superheroes of like, well, for every hero there's 3 villains that will come out. But in this case, it really brings the realness to that idea, I think.
Yeah, and I like that you brought up the kind of issues part of it, because that's one last thing I would really want to say about Jessica Jones is that it so tastefully and so I guess just it doesn't shy away from it. It never feels exploitive either of this trauma and this and these issues that people go through when they feel like all their control has been taken away from them. It's really respectful of it.
Yeah.
And it it doesn't turn away. It doesn't try to sugarcoat the kind of rawness and
they're not afraid to like touch on these topics.
No,
because they are fair about them. They are real about them, and it's one of those things where we don't like to talk about it. We know that stuff like that happens in the episode aren't good things. They're scary things, but it's real. And again, props to Marvel, props to the show for not being afraid to address these things and like stand up to them, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, without getting into anything spoilery, although I will say this, the final scene, without giving away what happens, the final whole sequence there was, I was like fingernails biting. It was that was such an unsettling but brilliant scene. But I would just say I think we're pretty much in agreement that we loved this premiere episode.
Yeah, Jessica Jones off to a brilliant start.
Yeah.
Definitely has me interested to binge it all the way through.
Yeah.
Really excited to go through the rest of the series, and I think a lot of people will love it. I think it'll be very different, especially even from Daredevil, but I'm excited. I'm excited for this going forward.
Yeah, we got 12 episodes more, and I really just can't wait to see how the story unfolds. So, thank you guys for watching this first video. Like we said, we'll be reviewing every episode of Jessica Jones for the Marvel Report. You can follow Blaise and me on Twitter at Blaise Hopkins, at CKinger13. Don't forget to also follow the Marvel Report on Twitter as well.
Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're really trying to launch this. We want to give you guys content and reviews in all forms. We have a lot of great stuff coming out.
Exactly.
A lot of great people writing for this site and sharing their views, and this would just be another side of it that you guys can engage with us on.
Exactly, especially with the launch of Jessica Jones. We have a ton of videos, a ton of articles coming. Make sure to check it out if you're a Marvel fan. And again, thank you guys for watching, and make sure to look out for our next video.
We'll see you at episode 2.
Woo!
See ya.